Back, hopefully. I think so.
Hopefully we're
having
back.
Some technical issues here.
Yeah, if you didn't join us at the beginning,
we're here now, hopefully.
Well, but I was going to say, we were talking about how, of course, we got technical issues.
Because of course we do.
Yeah, of course we do.
Let's see. Let me just make sure that we're back.
Gonna check and make sure we're not just talking to ourselves.
Because we could do that. Oh, there he goes. I think we're live. Yes. Okay, we are back.
We're back. Okay,
cool.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks for your coming back.
Thank you, Ian. Appreciate it.
So yeah, anyway, we were in the midst of talking about Cascadia. That's all. Cascadia. Cat in the Box. I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to talk about it. What's up, Steve? Appreciate you jumping in. But Cat in the Box is a really cool little trick-taking game. The gimmick behind it being that none of the cards have suits or colors, and you determine them as you play, and so you can get stuck in a paradox where you have what has already been played. So you keep up with what has been played. So like if a 3 of blue has been played, you keep that up with, and so you get stuck where you have the 3 of blue in your hand. And it's really a clever way of doing it.
Do you, like, from each set or whatever it is, like, does it keep that suit from set to set? Like, if you finish a round, is whatever it is what it was? Does that make sense?
It's if you know trick taking, it is 100% a regular trick taking game. When I play this 2, which is completely black and white, right? When I play it, there's a board. I'm saying this is the 2 of green.
Okay.
And then Lacey plays a 3, and she plays a 3 and says it's the 3 of green. And then Libby plays, and she plays the 5 and says it's a 5 of green. And then it comes to Laura. And let's say Laura doesn't have a 6. 6 is the highest number in a 4-player game. Laura doesn't have a 6. But she wants to win this trick. You can't play the 2 of green because 2 of green's already been played. That's what you have in your hand is now so it's this really clever, it's clever. And if you know, let me tell you, right, again, playing family games with Libby and Laura, right, we're not playing complex stuff, you know what I mean? But because they know trick taking, and we played spades and hearts a million times, right? Like, they picked up on this game just like this, with having that really interesting, clever mechanic. So I just think it's so neat how it functions, like, and it just does. Where, so in a trick taking game, right? So when Laura said she does not have a green, right? Now Laura has claimed she does not have green, so she can't play any greens, right? So none of her cards are green. Whether they need to be or not, they're not green, you know? It's really cool how it works.
I know all the words you're saying.
Yeah, you don't know trick taking, but like, if you know trick taking, it's really, really clever.
That's everything that you said makes sense, but I still can't figure it. But
and it's just, I think it's fun. Like, it's awesome. Just a fun trick taking game. So yeah, Cat in the Box. Chai. So man, all these family games are A, B, and C.
I know I have a game in D. I don't know if there's anything before that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess if you have a game A, B, and C title, family weight. That's what it means, you know.
But feast for Odin.
Yeah. We played Chai. This game is just a simple, you're collecting ingredients to fill team
I remember
orders.
This one.
Yeah,
this was a good one.
We've played it before, and that is like, it's as simple as like, you've got this little market, you're picking ingredients to fill various tea orders, and yeah, it is.
Did you whip out your player mat?
I didn't take the player mat. No. I just laid it out on the table. Because I realized that the player mat literally didn't do anything for that game.
It's just like a nice design or something for it, I think.
Yeah, it's like background art.
Who cares about that?
Yeah.
No, I remember playing this one and having a ton of fun with it. We played, I think all 4 of us, Lacey and Kirsten, And if I remember, it's just like you're getting little contracts and you're fulfilling them, right?
Yeah, literally, it's you're getting ingredients,
and you have these sweet little cups. I think that like you put your stuff in.
They're like an actual.
They're these chai cup or these teacups.
Teacup, and that is. I mean, it's like. This is the most bare bones of bare bones games, but it works. It was totally fun.
This was a good one. I really liked it. It was a fun one.
Yeah, I was trying. Civilization. So
did we play this or did you solo it?
I soloed this. That's right. I did solo this. I went against what's his name? Arno?
Oh yeah, something like that. I don't remember.
Sego?
Agnes? I don't know. Agnes sounds right, but I don't think that's what it is.
I don't remember what his name is. Arthur?
Matt Arthur with his fist.
I had a not great game of it. I literally like had nothing that went on.
No synergies. Did you draft cards?
I did, and I just could never make anything work. It was fine. The AI is not hard to run, but it's not easy.
Okay.
That's the best way to explain it. It's very simple in what it's going to do. It gets complicated in where it's going to do it, right? Because
that makes sense.
It has to evaluate like where is there open space, what areas it favor, and there's this like it's not. I get spoiled by a lot of games like Garfield games specifically where the AI's turn takes 15 seconds and then it's back to me. So when the AI's turn takes 60 seconds, right, it really lengthens the gameplay. But it was fine. I think the game is still good.
How long did the solo last?
I have to look, 2.5 hours or so.
Okay.
I don't
shorter
remember.
Than what the 2-player one was. I think if you and I played this one again, we could probably get it played 2.5 hours, under 3 hours for sure. Now that we know what we're doing.
2:19 is what I soloed it in. So, yeah. And that was undistracted, so that was real time for that one for sure. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Ooh, I did play one in the sea. Creature Caravan. So I played this one.
Civilization also is not a family weight game.
No, Civilization is not a family weight game whatsoever. I played Creature Caravan. I want to say it was right at the beginning of the year. I was still on break, so I actually got to meet up with a friend from work that started getting into board games and stuff like that. And so he wanted to learn some new ones, so I brought this one. And so I've talked about it plenty. And if you just watched our tableau building video, I talked about it on there. But basically, you're just collecting a bunch of cards and playing them out, and then just making synergies or making them match up however you can to score the most points. I just absolutely love this game. I think it's great. The issue I had with it on this last play was Kirsten and I knew the game. The other guy did not know it, and it slowed us down quite a bit because you're trying to read every card. You're trying to make sure that you're, placing all the stuff in the right place. So the fact that Kirsten and I knew it, and this other guy wasn't like 100% sure, it just kind of slowed it down a little bit. Didn't make it like way too long, but there was a lot more downtime than what we're used to playing that game. So other than that, though, still think it's a great game.
Yeah, I don't think you can avoid that. A simultaneous game with new people and veteran people.
Yeah, you can for sure. Especially
I don't think that's going to be specific to this game by any means. That's going to be anything that's ever simultaneous with new people.
And it's the same when you play this game. You said one of the first things you were saying was like, oh, you and Kirsten already are like, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and that. It's because we had already known what we were going to be doing.
And that's what ended up happening. It didn't really bother me, but that tainted Lacey's experience. And Lacey was like, I'll never play that game again, right? Because she was like, Paul and Kirsten were having fun, and I literally had no idea what I was doing, right? And she was just like, that was not fun for me to like hear them having a blast on their side of the table
and not understand what I'm doing.
And it was like turn one, right? You guys were like, oh, I'm playing this and doing, and she's like looking at cards, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, again, I think that's my problem is not that with the game. My problem is, especially the 4-player, you will never have any idea how anybody won or lost a game. And that's just like, it will either take 4 hours because everybody has to explain what they're doing, or to play it correctly, everybody does whatever they're doing. And
then at the end,
of the game, everybody will have a score, and you'll be like, oh, well,
your Caribbean's more synergistic,
you know, and there will be like, you can't control anything they do, you can't affect them, there's like zero interaction whatsoever. It'll just be, this was the score I got, what did you get, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I think at 2 or even 3, I think it's okay. Oh, or if everybody knows the game. Either way, it's still one of my favorites. I absolutely love it. So, it's Creature Caravan. Next up, we have Destinies. I soloed this one. This is just a narrative-driven exploration game, or at least the way that I played it. You can play a bunch of different modes. But really, all that you're doing is it's app-driven. You have some tiles, and on those tiles, you're just going to explore into it, and then some things are going to pop up, and then it's going to tell you what to do on there. So you might encounter some NPCs that have you traveling places. You might encounter some buildings that you have to go in, buy some materials, all that kind of stuff, and then you just have to fulfill your destiny, whatever that may be. So the one that I just played, we were trying to, I don't remember exactly, kill somebody, kill something. So you're just rolling dice and going from there. From what I've heard of you talk about Seventh Continent, I think this is Seventh Continent, just much easier and without the grind. So I don't know. I think it's fun. I'm interested to get into the story. Played a little bit longer than what I had wanted to when I live streamed it, but yeah, I think it's good.
How good do you think be in the like real competitive game?
I'm not sure. I don't think it would be that great, honestly. I think it's a great solo.
I don't know. I was curious about playing this. Like, me and Lacey, is this something that's like chill enough to just?
I'm not sure.
Both, right? Because in theory, you both just go explore and find your stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I'll probably try it with Kirsten at some point, but I don't know. To me, it's an exploration game, in that I don't want to be a competitive exploration game, if that makes sense. Like, I just want to explore on my own time. I don't want to have to explore quickly because of you. Like, I don't want to have to rush through my stuff because somebody else is doing it also.
You want to just straight up explore, not the game part of like explore efficiently.
Exactly. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. So it's fun though. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Explorers of the North Sea. So we streamed this a couple weeks ago. It was our second time playing it. The first being long ago. This game's good. I think it's good and fun. It went super long, and we're not sure if it's because of something we did or just because that's what happens when you do the expansion. But like, we felt like we were able to just like conquer the entire world, right? Like, I built all my buildings and collected all these animals and explored all these islands and, you know, traveled all over the map. And I don't know. I just felt like it went, there was no tightness of it, right? There was no, by the end, it was like, well, this is the last thing I haven't done yet, is gone and done that little thing over there. And I don't know, it just needed to end before that point. Like, it needed to end whenever you were still racing to do stuff.
What was interesting about it was, I think you had unlocked 2 of the expansion cards or whatever they were, promos or whatever, like fairly early on. And it was allowing you to get 7 turns near the beginning of the game. And at the end of the game, you were using 2 of the 7 turns,
like,
right?
I was like,
it was like, there's no point in me having all these turns. So, but you play until the tiles run out.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of strange part. Like, there was no, hey, you're playing at 2 players, take out 12 tiles or take out this many tiles. So So I don't know. Either way, I think is a fun game. It was a lot closer than I expected it to be. Um, and it seemed to be multiple pathways of victory, right? Like doing the fortresses, doing the set collection of
Yeah.
the animals. So that was really fun. We talked about it slightly after the stream, how we think it would play at a higher player count. I still want to try it at a higher player count, but
What I think would
I'm not
be,
sure.
I think though it becomes more like one, the area control becomes more of a thing. You have to leave people behind, and like think about our map, right? It's basically the same size map. It's just you have half of what you had because it was there's 2 other people,
and there's 6 more meeples out there or whatever it is.
Yeah, and so it's like, do I want to go and build this outpost over here, or do I want to go collect that cow? Not which order am I going to do those 2 things.
I will say though, I was left with 1 person left over at the end, so I had no area control.
Yeah, you murdered
I murdered
everyone.
every single one of them, and it actually ended up being a pretty decent strategy.
Yeah,
so
that was pretty cool. So that was Explorers. Framework played this game at about 12:01 January 1st. This is what we rolled into the New Year's playing, and then we actually, what happened? Something happened.
it was your dogs. Didn't they like almost knock over your table?
Oh, well, yeah, they did knock over the table. That was during Rococo.
Oh.
Something happened, like right after midnight. One of the kids woke up, or there was something. Can't remember exactly what it was. And we were like, oh, we're going to have to be up for like another 30, 45 minutes. Like, we just knew that.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, we'll just play a few more games of this or whatnot. And so we continued playing Framework. Like,
you're like, let me just play it again.
Start the new year great, playing games. But yeah, I think Framework's
really
amazing
good.
game. It's just fun.
It's a really good. I like playing this one on BGA a lot. Maybe I'll borrow that one. That's one that I haven't played in a while in person. I like it.
Yeah. Framework.
Halls of Hegra. So this one I must have played right at the beginning of the month. It was around that January 1st, December 31st time frame. So Halls of Hegra, it's a solo only survival game where you're playing as the Finnish, possibly. Yeah, I think it's the Finnish army defending or trying to fight off the Nazi troops that are coming in, the German troops. And this game, when I heard about it, looks super awesome, right? It's got bag building, it's got some worker placement in there. It's got this really awesome like storytelling aspect of it, to where you play, I think it's 13 rounds, but you start off with like mobilization, so you're building up your army. Then you actually go into like the first attack, second attack, a coup, and then if you make it to the very end, you've got this final stand to where you just have to basically survive. So everything about it seemed very interesting and something like I would really enjoy. But as I played it, I think I've played it a total of 3 times, possibly 4. The last playthrough, I pretty much just stopped playing it. Stopped in the middle, just packed it up, and I was just like, I can't do this. It's just an uphill battle. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, you build out this really sweet army of all these defenders, and then, your mobilization's going well, and then you have to get a fear card or whatever it's called. I don't know if it's a fear card. Low morale, whatever. And it's like 2 of your people are removed. Like, okay, I was planning on those people to get me new supplies, but okay, we'll get through it. So then you got the next event. It's like, oh, it snowed, move your stuff back. It's like, well, that room that I was going to unbury is now back down buried, so I have to put somebody else here. So there's just a lot of negative after negative after negative that it eventually is just a beatdown. And I came to realize it during that last play that this is the same reason why Final Roll is not a game that I kind of ever went back to. It's just because you're rolling dice and something bad's going to happen and you have to make up for it. And the plan that you had, you're not going to be able to do that plan. So, I don't know. I can definitely see why this game is for some people.
And it's not about winning the war, right?
It's not about winning the war. It's surviving. Yeah.
And that's
so like the final act is literally just like have this many troops and be at like this kind of level kind of thing. I can 100% see why Joe loves this game. I can see why tons of people love this game. I don't think that I enjoy games where I am constantly, when stuff is constantly being taken away from me, when I'm just fighting to barely do anything. And then when the army actually comes in and you're rolling dice and it's like, oh, that's a 6, that kills this person, or this is a 1, cool, nothing happens. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like that.
It's
I
just
do not like the survival negative aspect of
it's just like it's hard. It's when I play games, I want to feel accomplished, and when you get beat down for 90 minutes and you make it to round 7 out of the 13, like, cool. I just wasted that whole time doing nothing. So I don't know. I don't think I'll go back to this one. Unfortunately, it's not for us, I guess.
Yeah. Lanterns, though.
Lanterns.
You're building up something there.
We are building up something there. Lanterns was good. We got to play that one last week on stream. This is just a tile laying game where you're matching up lanterns in the water, matching up colors and getting lanterns, and then turning in those lanterns for points.
Decorations.
For decorations. There you go. For points.
Your dedication.
You're dedicating the lanterns for points, I think.
Dedications, not decorations.
But this one had a really cool mechanic of like
the way you face.
Yeah, the placement of stuff, right? So like if you place it this way, wherever you're facing, that's what you're going to get in return. And it took a bit for me to understand that, but after a couple of tiles laying, it's like, okay, now I understand what we're doing. I think it would definitely be fun at 3 or
multiple players, because you're collecting,
because you're going to be getting
even
stuff
on their turn, right? And that's what would be fun is every time person plays something, you're like, ooh, I get the orange. You're giving me the orange I needed.
It's giving you it's that same base feel of getting stuff when other people are doing stuff, so you don't feel like you're just, oh, when's it my turn? You're actually like, ooh, where's he gonna put that, because I do need that orange. Are you sure you don't want to put it over here, kind of thing? So that one was good. I really liked it.
Yeah, lanterns.
Let's go to Japan. So Kristen and I had a game night one day during the week, and I got to introduce her here to Let's Go to Japan. And I mentioned it in our Tableau video this week, but I explained the whole game to her and told her, I was like, look, I've got probably 20 something plays of this on Board Game Arena within the last month. Like, just so you know, like, I don't want you to feel disappointed
Set
or
these
whatever.
Expectations when I spank that.
No, she bent me over and spanked that. It was a beat down, but it was awesome because she really enjoyed it. But it's just a fun little, building out this trip, and again, you're building stuff up. You get to see what you're going through, and then just the little strategy of just like, what card do I actually want to score. And then what bonuses do you want to get? Do you want to get the little resource circles that allow you to move up? So, if this one says you need 3, but you've only got 2, you can spend that to get that third one. And then just traveling back and forth between the cities. I think that's a really cool mechanic that they did with that game. So I'm really hoping they do a Let's Go series where it's other cities. I don't know how they could change it, but I think it'd be good.
What would you want more, though?
I just think
you know what I mean? I don't know that just like there's so many. I feel like you could play this game 20 times, right? And all 20 times your scoring conditions are different. It's all different. You know what I mean? I don't know. If there was a Let's Go to Germany, like, what is different than the Let's Go to Japan that's got all these variable scoring?
So I mean, I kind of like all the Great Western Trails, right? Like, you've got Great Western Trail and then Argentina and New Zealand. They add like 1 or 2 different things in here that just slightly change it. So maybe instead of doing, like the train tokens, it's something slightly different, right?
Cabs.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Something like that,
I was
right?
just curious. Like, to me, it's like,
because I'm pretty sure the only difference with like Argentina and Great Western Trail is it's boats that you're shipping off, and they like don't ship off every round. So like they sit there for a while and then later they'll ship off. So I don't know, change some little mechanic, just make it slightly different. But I think they could definitely make a series of this game. I'm not a designer.
Yeah.
No plans on that, but I'm sure Josh, whatever, the designer of this game, can figure it out. So
Do it.
do it. Very fast play. You can complete it less than 12 minutes. Sure can. 120 solo plays. Good job, Patrick.
Wow, that is a ton. That is a ton.
Yeah,
all right.
I don't think I have 120 plays of anything, even digital.
Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle Earth.
This must have been me.
I know I played this.
Okay, so we both played it.
I played this with Denver. I took it to some family event. I'm not really sure. And we did not have time to play it. And we were literally getting ready to leave. I was like, oh man, I was really hoping to play that game again. Like,
let's do it.
Like, so I told Lacey, you have to know Denver. I'm like, hey, we got to stay like 30 minutes. I got to play this. And she understood. So I played it, beat him, easy. But no, that's not what I was getting at. But he had a blast, and he was like, he's like, man, I was telling my roommate Nathaniel all about this game. Denver was like you, never really cared about Lord of the Rings at all. But his roommate really likes it, and his roommate has played a couple games here and there, type of thing. No, nothing serious by any means. Like they play Avalon with some friends and that kind of stuff. So anyway, he was like, I had told Nathaniel all about this game, you know. I think he'd really enjoy it, you know. I was like, Dimmer, just take this. He was like, what? Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, man, you guys take it and play it.
Yeah.
So he's been like sending me pictures of videos, awesome. And I think by this point they probably played like 20 times.
That's really
you know
cool.
what I mean? Like that next day, they had played like 4 times,
That's awesome.
back to back in a row. But yeah, I was like, dude,
you're like, Paul's got a copy of it.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Like, what am I gonna play it? You know, once every 3 months, best case, you know, or like he'll get you
the next day,
you know, out of it, and like great wait for, you know, he's never gonna be playing any of these games, you know, and so it was just really cool, and it's cool when I get the things.
That's awesome.
But so he lost to Derek. That was when they had played back then.
Oh yeah.
And then he lost to me, and then he lost like every game the next day to Nathaniel. So I think it was like his 7th game. He's like, I finally won for the first time.
That's so funny.
But yeah.
So ever since we played this first time, I've been talking it up to Kirsten. I'm like, this is the one. Like, you love Seven Wonders, this, that. That same night that we met up with my friend for Creature Caravan before he showed up, I played this one with Kirsten. And she was so let down, and I was so let down.
You overhyped it.
Overhyped. And that's what she said. She was like, you overhyped it. And I was like, no, but it's so much better because of this, and that. She's like,
say those things.
She's like, no.
You gotta be like, hey, I like this game. It's pretty good. I think it's a little bit better than Seven Wonders Duel because it tweaks some things. And that's all you say, and then let her experience.
Well, and so then the thing was like that's what I had said originally. But then it was like every night for a week or something. I was like, hey, let's play this game. Hey, let's play this game. Hey, and
by the end it was like, this is the best game you will ever play in your entire life.
And she was just like, it's fine. I like Seven Wonders better. And I was like, okay, it's not a bad game. It's not, but right now I would at least like to play this one over it. Either way, I'm sure she'll play this one again for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just overhyped it. I destroyed myself.
Yeah. Lords of Waterdeep. So neat thing. Played a whole bunch of family weight games and then busted out Lords of Waterdeep on them. I'm like, all right, we're gonna step it up and we're gonna learn a worker placement. And to me, this is like intro level worker placement game, right? And it
real quick, this is exactly what you did to me.
Yeah.
This is exactly what got me into worker placement. We had been playing whatever, and you're like, there's this game. This is a worker placement. So I've experienced this.
Like Devin knows what he's doing.
Like he knows.
Just reeling them on in, you know.
In 10 years, Libby's gonna have a YouTube channel.
Absolutely. I hope so. Look, I got so many games just ready to bust out. It'll be Gaia Project here in no time. But anyway, yeah, they enjoyed it. Absolutely.
No skull port.
Nope. So
skull port.
Here's the nice thing. Not so nice. I let somebody borrow my copy of Lords of Waterdeep, and they destroyed it. So they bought me a new copy. That was great. But because I let them borrow it, I had already separated out the expansion and stuff. So I already had it separated, so it was easy to grab and take over there because it was separated, and this was just happened to be the new copy. And I forgot it was the new copy. I remembered I had separated everything out, right? So I get there and I'm like, oh, this is unpunched. So I'm like, hey, we're gonna learn this worker placement. I open it up, I'm like, and you guys need to help me out real quick, you know?
Everybody punch all of
open these bags
out.
of stuff. I promise I know how to play.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's
how old is your son?
It is great, and you know, they had fun, and the best part, in my opinion,
you won.
I don't remember, but I'm sure. Was nobody got the builder person, which, don't get me wrong, everybody loves the builder, right? Everybody is so excited that they get the builder. If you've ever played Lords of Waterdeep, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, oh yeah, I'm playing the builder, you know? But nobody got that, and I think that was best case for
sure.
an intro game, that it wasn't like I had me or Lacey, and like every turn us going there and them not understanding why. So this way, everybody had some buildings out there, right? Because when you don't have the builder, you're not really incentivized to like constantly go build. It feels good, but you really learn. You learn pretty quick. Like if you've done it before, you're like, oh, and collecting these like one-offs doesn't actually win me the game.
Ooh, give me another orange.
So I didn't stack it. I just like dealt them out, and you know, everybody got regular lords or whatnot. But yeah, it was overall.
I love this game. It's so awesome.
Yeah, Lords of Waterdeep. Marvel Champions. So I have been continuing on my quest to play through all of the campaign boxes, and I'm on the Mad Titan Shadow. Not on, finished. The Mad Titan Shadow. It was good. So far, it is the best one. I got 3 more to go.
This is the 4th one?
This is the 3rd one. I have 4 more to go after this one. Every time I start one of these, I just randomly decide on characters. I tell Google over there, hey, pick a number between 1 and 51, I think is what it is at this point. And I freaking got first one, Spider-Woman. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll play Spider-Woman. Give me another number. Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, I love Marvel. Love Marvel. Spider-Man is my least favorite stuff. Out of Marvel in general. Are you freaking serious? I had a blast with both those characters. I am so glad that those were the 2 that got rolled, and I decided to play them. They had really neat mechanics. Spider-Woman's was like, it was fine. It was cool. It got a bit old by the end, but Spider-Man Morales was really cool. It was like this having shield stuff, and anyway, I had fun. This campaign so far of the 3 I played, so Rise of the Red Skull, the Guardian or the Galaxy's Most Wanted, and the Mad Titan Shadow. This is my favorite of the 3. The big bad here was not Thanos. Thanos was Loki, which was pretty cool. And he had a really cool mechanic where you were like, he was switching versions of himself, and anyway,
that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. Can't wait to talk about not liking Spider-Man. The next one is Sinister Motive, which is Spider-Man themed.
So I will say I agree with you with Spider-Man heroes. I think Spider-Man villains are some of the best. I love the villains.
Octopus, I guess that's neat. I don't know. I guess maybe.
Yeah, I like the Sinister Six. I think that is like a whole.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Could be.
Just It's my least favorite. So anyway, well, this is speaking of Sinister Six. Let's we'll get to it here soon. But hopefully, I'm playing. You know, Google over there lets me play like some X-Men, you know, or Ant-Man or something like that. Yeah.
That's the only one that I know from Marvel Champions because I know it flips open into big one.
Yeah. Ant-Man and the Wasp
they flip
like,
open.
Big size cards, you know. But we'll see what Faith's side haven't started yet.
Went from Lords of Waterdeep onto Charterstone and doesn't like the mechanic. What is he like in games? Worker placement, I think, is.
How far in Charterstone did you get? Game 1, he didn't like it? Because that's interesting, because that's like even more...
I just don't think like worker placement.
Even more basic than... Well, here's the reason I ask. I had a lot of fun during Charterstone, but Charterstone is a worker placement legacy game, right? Mm-hmm. And it's built into 6 quadrants, and each player has their own quadrant as home base. And you can go to other people's places, but you're kind of incentivized in your own stuff, you know, and that's what you're building out. Just the nature of the game and how it can be, like, you can create some pretty powerful combos, you know. And if a person does that, like, they will naturally, like, they can become, like, runaway leader through the campaign because it's like, oh, they've created like these really cool combos within their home base, you know, and like while I can go over there and disrupt it, doesn't really incentivize me unless I'm doing their combo and that's in their area and they can get some benefits for it.
It's like the getting one orange cube.
Yeah, so anyway, so I'm curious if it was like several games in and something like that happened, or if it was like game 1, didn't like it.
I don't like putting workers and getting stuff.
Yeah.
Medical, what is this one called? I don't even remember. Medical Mysteries New York City Emergency Room. So Joe got me this game for my birthday. His wife is a nurse and my wife is a nurse. And this was his #1 game last year, which just absolutely shocked me. But this is basically a escape room-esque kind of game. So you're taking the role of a nurse at a New York City emergency room, and patients are coming up to you, and these patients have something wrong with them. So it gives you this like whole background information on them, this whole story, and then it's like, and this happened. Pull out these cards. These are the charts. This is this. This is that. So Kirsten, being an emergency room nurse, she's like, oh, this is infarction, whatever, right? And I'm just like, okay, what does this mean? And so then she's explaining it to me, and I'm like, oh, well, we should go see the cardiologist. No, we don't need to see a doctor. We need to do this, this, and that. I was like, we should probably go to the This book says cardiologist. She's like, no, we need to do this, this, and that. And I was like, hey, like this went on a couple times, and I was like, this game was made for me.
Yeah.
Not for you. I was like, you're skipping too many steps.
We need to go see a doctor.
Yeah, we need to go do this part first. Like, I understand that you know these terms, but this. It got to one point where she was... so we went to the cardiologist or whatever, and it said something like, he has this reaction, give this. And Kirsten was like, yeah, I know that. And I'm like, well, then we should have done that kind of thing. I don't know. It was just super funny. Just like she got super into it and was just like enjoying it. And I could see her like heightened, right? Like she would read that and like could see like the gears spinning in her head. And so immediately after the game, I texted Shelby and I was like, did you do all this in your game? And she's like, oh my God, yes, this, and that. It was just super funny, just like having that experience from it. So I think we've got 3 more patients. I think there's 6 in there. We've got 3 more. This one's a little hard to get to because I don't want to pull this out on Wednesday afternoon after she's been working for 36 hours.
Been doing that
and say like, hey, let's do this. So either way, it was a ton of fun. I think they're doing another box with like a different city and just different characters and stuff like that. But it was really fun. Really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah. Mystic
Mischief
Market.
Mystic
Mischief is a
Market.
different game.
Yeah.
Mystic Market is the
this
game we played.
This was fun. This
Yeah.
was a lot more fun than I think it should have been. And I think it was a lot better at 2 players than I think it should have been.
I agree to both those.
I don't know. Like, just seeing it, you've got just a row of ingredients, a row of potions, and
Collecting sets.
collecting sets. That's all it is. But I don't know. Like, the theme worked well.
Just the quick,
The quickness of it, the potions giving you those little abilities that at first I thought were trash, but they actually weren't.
even the small decisions of like, do I buy this ingredient for 2?
Yeah.
Even though, you know what, I'll buy it for 2, and then oh, there's another one, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, I am selling it for a profit.
Exactly. Or the whole thing of like, ooh, I'm about to sell these for you. And you're like, well, I'm trading this one, and now you're getting $5 for it. And I'm like, I literally just paid $10 for it because I was going to sell it for 12.
That was great. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was just like, well, great. Now I have to like hold on to this to maneuver that market again, or just accept it as a loss. So just those little like fast, quick decisions, or that can really mess up the other person. I don't know. It was just done really well.
Yeah, it was.
I really liked it.
I really do want to play this at all 4 players. So like, it's just chaos in the market, you know. I think it'd be a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, even those like events that came out, right? Like, unfortunately, we had 3 come out in a row or 2 come out in a row, right?
Close.
And so like that kind of it's not supposed to work that way, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think like it moving so frequently would just make it so much fun, because then you are just
like, all of a
can
sudden,
I hold this for a little bit longer?
I just bought these green and now I can sell them for a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that game was so much better than it should have been.
Yeah. Pandemic Legacy. So Lacey and I are planning to, or started, streaming Pandemic Legacy, and we're gonna do, it's a 12-month game. We're gonna do a game each month. So we started January, and now it's February. We'll do February, and we enjoyed it. It's early on, so I don't really have a whole lot to say about the thing because it's early on, and but. From the little I've played so far, right? So we played the whatever you call the intro game that
the
like
prelude or
makes
whatever.
you learn the difference in mechanics. We played that, which was really just truly to show you the new mechanics. And then we played the actual January game. What I can say is I'm liking that it's like seems to be exploration themed, right? Versus just another one about curing diseases, right? Because that was what I figured. It was just another version of, right? They got a million version of Pandemic, and it was just going to be something to contain the diseases or whatnot. So I'm liking so far, but I can't really judge because we have like a board, this big, and what this is about how much we have covered of it, or uncovered, like. So, and I think that part's pretty cool too, that you're
actually
I
unlocking the
assume
map.
by, December you have the entire world, and
so I didn't watch your full play, but I know at the beginning there was like different sections. I think there was 4 different sections you could go to.
Colors?
Yeah, or like there was 4 different like goals that you could have done. Like you could have done 2 of the same color or something like that, or
you're talking about to unlock more of the map.
Yeah.
It's I can't remember the color. I just did it. Black is like over here, and yellow is like over here, and then blue is up here.
Did you guys do North America?
We did 1 in yellow, the bottom left yellow, and 1 in the top left.
So
America.
what sticker did you put on at the end of the game?
Sticker.
Like what map did you unlock?
So we unlocked those 2. We unlocked the south part of South America.
Okay.
And then most of
North America.
North America.
So on mine, we only got North America.
Yeah.
I think that was all we got. I think you only had to get one.
You had to get North America.
Okay.
That was like,
so that was all
to
we
complete January. You had to do North America.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the only thing that we got for that. So,
yeah.
And then we basically stopped playing. We need to play it again. But so from this point on, this is what I'll be doing when you get here.
Sounds good. How's the narrative in this pandemic? I mean, it's about the same. You're reading a
card.
A card.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit of story. So ours was looking for the leaders. I think that's how it started. You're looking for the leaders. We don't know where the leaders, I guess, of Haven. We have these havens set up, and you're searching for the leaders, and so it guided you into North America. You had to do that, and then you read another card. I think you did Chicago or Atlanta. I can't remember. One of the two is what you had to explore for. It was Washington. I don't know. One of those places. And it talked about like you found this city or you explored this city, and maybe the leaders are here. Is what it said. So it's like the narrative is what you want it to be out of. For me, that's perfect. I actually don't want a whole lot more narrative in my game. I don't want to stop and read for 20 minutes. I want to read for 60 seconds, and then I want to continue playing the game. That's the perfect story and narrative in my head.
But I think the story of this pandemic is like the world basically went to hell after pandemic
it's like
1.
It's 70 years after.
Yes.
70 years after the first pandemic is what it is.
And there's like, you've cut ties to basically everywhere except for your havens, and you're trying to go out and rebuild those trading routes and all that kind of stuff. So I agree, Michael. Distant Skies has spoiled me for narratives also. Absolutely love that game.
So this pandemic.
Peacemakers, Horrors of War. I got to stream this one, I believe. I think I did. If not, either way, I played it a bunch this past month, and it's fun. It's real fun. The first time I played it, I played the introductory scenario, which is it's very basic. It's just basically learning the mechanics, kind of like the intro to Pandemic. But as like you played more scenarios, these different factions come in that act just completely differently. So in the game, you are these adventurers, and you're trying to stop these 2 or more factions from fighting each other. And so as they're fighting, their motivations get lower, and you're trying to get their motivations into this green zone, both of them into this green zone. There's also, you can lower their motivation too much to where they surrender, and then the other faction wins, basically just kills them off, and you don't want that. So your whole goal is to try to get them both into this zone to where they're ready to talk to each other and build peace. So one of the ones that I played on here, you were these bears, and you were fighting these toucans, I think is what it was. And the story is the toucans are scared of heights. And so they had like these special horror cards that were like, if you were above this level, if one of them died, you get horror cards. But if like you're above this level, you get this, you have to roll the die and you have to move somewhere kind of thing. So it was like really thematic like that. And then you've got the bears that are throwing boulders down this mountain trying to hit the toucans. So I don't know. It was just a ton of fun. Again, there's a little bit of narrative at the beginning of the game that explains the scenario, but just the way that each of them play really ties that narrative into each scene, and you really feel like you're in there. And so you're not like, you're just trying to manipulate both factions at the same time into doing what you want them to do. And you can do that by like adjusting their cards, by like, you can flip it over and look, oh, this is what they're going to do next. You can say like, oh, let's put that to the bottom. And so like in my head, it's you going up to the generals like, hey, don't do this time. Like, they're not going to do that. So I don't know. It was just a ton of fun. And I've really enjoyed it. So it's a great game.
All right.
Pretty Princess. I got to play this one with Lola and my wife this month. And so you're just collecting jewelry. We actually have the Disney version in the crown, and you cannot win the game if you have the cursed ring. Funniest thing about this was we were playing it. and somebody came over, and I was in the room there with Lola on the ground. I had my earrings on, my necklace on, and all that kind of stuff. And this person just walked in through the front door, turned their head, looked at me in the room, and I just made eye contact with them with all this stuff on. And they just turned around and kept on walking straight to Kirsten. And it was like, hey, that's normal. This is what we're supposed to be doing.
Girl done.
Yeah, but it was fun. I had never played this. And Kirsten grew up playing it, so she wanted to get it.
I told you last month, I grew up playing it.
Yeah, I had never played it, and it was fun. I love just playing those games with her. So
yeah, absolutely. Project
L. I got to play this one. Same night as Let's Go to Japan. Quick engine builder. I think we played this on a Fifth Friday night frenzy.
Did we?
I think so. I think it was on our first one.
Nice.
But let's see. You have these pieces, and they're different levels, and you're just trying to complete different shapes. And once you complete those shapes, you get another shape. And then it's the first one. It's once the stack runs out, and then just whoever has the most points.
Yeah.
This is just a very quick engine builder. It's fun.
Yeah, I honestly think this game is great. I absolutely love Project L. It's just, it's fun. It's thinky enough, but not like hard.
Yeah, you can only do
always
4 actions. I think it's upgrade a piece, swap out a piece, get a new tile, and then do your master action. So for your master action, you're putting 1 piece on every single little tile. And that master action is definitely what you need to be doing
every time.
And you have to plan it out enough to where it's going to complete multiple things once you do that. So
yeah, master is what the game's really about.
Yeah, I taught this one to Kirsten, and I played the first round, and I did that, and then she was like, "Oh, now I get it. Let's play again." Yeah. And I think we tied on that second one, but it was good.
Do you need or do we have?
You do not need it, and we do not have it.
I didn't know there was a deluxe.
I think they crowdfunded it again last year.
What is deluxe? Because I think these pieces are great.
They are.
Like, what on earth do you need the deluxe of?
So there's an expansion. There's expansions. I don't know if that, like, I think the deluxe edition came with expansions, a bigger box.
Expansions literally else. Just have to be like
different shapes and stuff like
new
that.
Cards and I guess different piece shapes.
Yeah, but I think it just like filled recently. I don't know. They actually just came out with a new game. It's called Square One. It's in the same universe of, I guess, putting pieces in cards. Haven't looked into it, but it's supposed to be pretty similar to Project L.
There's some games that, like, do you need more? This is one you don't.
I would agree.
I can literally not think of any advantage to needing an expansion, more piece. This game lasts exactly how long Project L needs to last, and it's
30, 45 minutes,
you know?
And then you can re-rack it and get different stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, the Quest for El Dorado. This is go-to family game night, and it's part of our New Year's bingo card. We wanted to make sure we stick to our family game night once a week, and then we missed like 2 weeks. But we did play a Quest for El Dorado because Luna absolutely loves this game.
I got to see her love for it. I think it was last week. She taught me the game.
She got it right. Out. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I said, "Oh, what does this do?
Oh, this is yours. Yeah. This is yours." And,
she was like, "This is yours. This is yours. This is mine."
That's Luke's.
Pulled out all the tiles and.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of Luke's, a funny thing when we play this, Luke's chilling. He's second kid. He's chilling over there. So
just turned 1.
Yeah, it's me, Lacey, Luna, and Luke is red in this game always. And Luna, she mostly plays with cave tiles, right? But she gets up and down frequently, right?
As a 2-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. We're not expecting her to like sit here and finish this game type of thing. So we're not like paying her any mind as she's like getting up or just playing our cards, doing our thing. Luke is like over, and Lacey's like, "What do you have in your mouth?" And he starts like seeing that she's noticing him, so he comes this way, you know? And she's like, what do you have in your mouth? And she just can tell, like, he's not, like, opening his mouth or something weird in his mouth. Luna had given him
the red piece,
little red meeple, and he had his entire little red meeple in his mouth.
I will never play red in this house again.
Yeah, and
that's so funny.
And it's like it's a chunky little guy in that. So I was like, whoops.
Luna, do not give your brother these little pieces.
So, we had a little talk there of, you know, like Luke's stuff stays because we have a spot that's Luke's and it's over there, and that's where it all goes. And like Luke's stuff stays over there. You don't go give it to him.
I just had that whole conversation with Lola about pieces because she's like putting them all over the room, and I was like, hey, they just need to stay by the game.
Yeah.
And then when we finish, the most important part is cleaning it up.
Always.
You got to put the stuff back in the box.
Yep, that's the most important part of playing a game. But yeah, so played Quest for El Dorado. Played some Raiders of Scythia, did this solo. I can't remember how it went. It was, oh yeah, I do remember how it went. I got a guy who was a complete dud of a leader. What did he do? Obviously, I can't even remember. It was something
real bad.
Something not good. And man, I just couldn't get like horses or birds or any like thing to really like help my strength. And then I got no cards that like had anything to do with any of the zones I was raiding, right? Like the increase strength or make it cheaper provisions or any of that kind of stuff. So I just had this like mishmash of people. So it was
a forgettable game.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It had no like real synergies or anything like cool going on to remember. Just remember that I didn't have that. So yeah, here's Scythia.
Rasafa, I got to play this one a couple times last month. This is the newest Vladimir Suchy game, where you are going to be selecting your
Camel
actions.
riders.
Not at all, actually. This game, it plays similar to, I think it was Evacuation. You have two sides to the card. You can choose, or you have two actions on the card, and you can choose one action. Is that right?
I think some of them.
Something like that, right?
I don't know that they all did.
Well, so in this one, you have 6 cards, and these cards have 2 actions on them, and then 2 like secondary colored actions. So what you'll do every round is you're going to play 3 cards, and you're going to decide which action from which card you want. So that's going to be dependent on the main action and then the colored action. Colored action gives you like bonuses. Have a good one. Yeah, thanks for subbing. We appreciate that. We'll I'll go on diced veggies right after this, and I'll take my turn. So you play like for the main action, it's going to be one of 6 things. So you can sell stuff with your camel, you can build out your garden, you can build out your like workshops, you can what else? You can build out the aquifer. I forget the other ones. But then like your colored actions are just getting like bonus cards, like instant action cards, or moving up some tracks, stuff like that. Like any Vladimir Suchy game, there is 18 turns in this, and it is so tight. Like it is just, you're going to pick 2 of those 6 actions and you're going to hammer them hard.
Good game.
You are going to destroy me at this game. I just absolutely know it. Like, I think I've played it a total of 4 times now. To get a good score on this game is like 120, or okay is 120, good is 150. My first game, I got like a 80. It was like not even okay. Second game, I got like 100. I was like, still not even okay. But it's a game that makes you want to do everything, and I have such a hard time cutting down what I need to do. It's been great. It's been really fun. But I just need to work on the strategy for it. So if you like Vladimir Suchy, you'll like this one.
Okay.
I know you'll like it for sure.
Every time I saw this box until now, I thought it was Rafasa. And I don't know why.
Nope.
And when you said that, I was like, what?
You're like, nope, you're wrong. I was
I
like,
looked at the thing. I'm like, oh.
So I actually always thought it was Rasafa. So anytime I went to BGG, I typed in R-A.
Oh.
And I was like, nothing is popping up ever. And then I finally realized it's R-E.
Yeah.
But the camel. I also thought this was like a
Camel
major camel game. Not camel racing. But I thought camels were like the main thing. They're not. But they've got these really sweet camel meeples with like slots in them, and you stick the resource in the slot, and then you move it from like city to city when you want to sell them. So like you actually are carrying the resources in it. It looks pretty sweet, but not the main part of the game.
Okay. I do that all the time with games.
And how you hear them versus how they're, yeah.
SETI. We both played this one.
I played it solo. You played it with Lacey.
Yeah, so Lacey and I played our second game of it. We had one overlap of, let's say demon, not demon.
Aliens.
One overlap of alien and one new one. I'm not going to say what I think. I want to know what you think of this game.
Okay. So I
Jeff thinks it's so good.
Jeff thinks it's so good. So I got to play it solo.
I guess solo is different because you have objective things you have to do.
Not really.
Right? Challenges or
sort
missions or something.
Yeah. But it's more of a guide to your game, right? So it's not.
You don't have to do them.
You don't have to do them.
Are they score related?
They're score related.
Well, you kind of have to do them.
Not really. It depends what level you're playing on. On level 1, you do not have to do them.
Okay.
But basically, so again, SETI is a game with a lot of actions. You're trying to gather research on these different extraterrestrials. So you can do it with a scan action, which is kind of like an area majority section. You can do it with data analysis, which is getting like research time. No, it's getting those actions from the scan action. And then you can actually like land your Martians out on or land your rovers out on the planets. I like the game. I think it is it's tight with resources. So you're either going to get, I forget what they called. It's the what are the resources? You have money and you have
money, energy, and cards.
That's what it is. So you're either going to go for money or energy, and that's going to kind of dictate which of the 3 major actions you're going to be taking. I like how you're building up and sending over the information to unlock the aliens. I think that's really cool. Like the whole first phase of the game where you're just gathering information. I really like that. Once the aliens come out, it completely changes it based on whatever aliens you have. You and I talked about it. We had the red alien race come out, which was basically the push your luck mechanic of this much whatever. I did not enjoy that one. But playing it solo, I also didn't have to interact with it that much. Like I just played with the other Martians. The thing that I didn't enjoy in the solo was the scan action. I just felt like it wasn't just like the other game I mentioned earlier. I don't remember. There was like Explorers. There was no remove this many tiles or this many data points to make it easier. You still had to clear 6 of them. At solo, or if you're playing 4 players, you still have to clear 6 of them. So it was a lot harder to get information that way, to analyze and get stuff from there.
2 players, same thing, right? So think about it.
Yeah.
If you're scanning and you have done 2 or 3 of the spots, there is zero chance I am ever going to do those last 2 spots, right?
So
so you have to single-handedly brute force this stuff in 2 players.
So that was the thing that I didn't enjoy from it. Other than that, I thought the game was really good. I thought the resource management was good. You had to really decide which ones to do. I don't think it was too overly complicated. But I know you and I had talked, and it's like you have cards that say basically do this, or if you do this, you get this. So you're just gonna go in the way that the game's telling you to go. So
yeah,
I think it's good.
Yeah, so I also think it is a good game. and I see why a lot of people love it. Let me put that. I definitely understand why it is very loved. It'll just never be for me a top tier game, solely because of two things. One, how scoring is. I want some sort of
endgame scoring,
in-game path to doing something, and this will never be that. This will always be just go score as many points as you can every turn, right? Or building it up for a couple turns, like be the first to get whatever the alien stuff needs to get the high alien points or whatever. It's always going to be just
what can I do to get the most points right now?
And the end game scoring that there is, while it's fine, it's you're already doing that stuff anyway. You're already collecting alien artifacts anyway. It's not like I can be like, oh, I am gonna get the most sets of
this multipliers
upgrade tiles or what. Like we're all doing that kind of stuff anyway. But so that's one. But two, I just feel like the game feels very close to on rails for me, right? Like dictated by the cards I have in my hand, or possibly the ones I can draft. Like this lets me launch a cheap probe and then incentivizes me to take that probe to Mars because the mission scores 7 points if I go to Mars, or I get, a piece of resource if I fly through an asteroid or and I think it's really cool how those cards work and the mission stuff works on them, but just the way those missions function, like every turn is very much like,
you should do this.
Well, I should do this because this mission wants me to, have a satellite in Saturn, right? Because I get a bunch of extra stuff for that, right? So I'm gonna just go
to Saturn.
I'm gonna spend my turn moving and going to Saturn. And so for me, it's like it just overall that's the best. It's on rails. It's going to always.
It's holding your hand.
Yeah.
Away.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that the game doesn't have decision points by any means. There is, but I just wanted a little bit more freedom to do the strategy that I wanted. But this is gonna always be. These are the cards. You know what I mean? And there's not enough of a right. So a game like Terraforming Mars gets around it. You draft and you make what you want that way, right? A game like Ark Nova gets around it because it's an open market and you buy out the stuff you want that way. Most of the cards you collect are going to be face down random draws. There is some options to buy some, whether you spin the publicity or whatnot to buy some, but that's few of your overall cards that you're getting. So that's it. Now, I will say 2-player, I do think there is, personally, and I've only played twice, so we are going to play more, but there is got to be some sort of balance issues with it. One, like you talked about scanning, but two, the first round of the game, Lacey completely shut me out on the entire first alien, just in the action she did, right? So she got 2 pieces of data and then, enough points to get a free one put over there. And then on the second one, she had one, so I got one, and then the other took it, right? So she had this really clear-cut advantage right away from the beginning. And at least at the 2-player game, you have very much the rich get richer situation because she could just then stay ahead. So she was the top marker on every single one of the mission places that she wanted, or the in-game scoring ones that she wanted, right? And I couldn't help that. I literally...
That's just what it was.
She got this jump start and it was okay, so she's going to score the most for that set. And then she's going to score the most for that. And I get this one over here, but then she gets the most on this one. And so that was, I don't know, the 2-player just has those kind of things. But I agree, the scanning felt super lackluster because it was so our second game, I was all right, this one I'm going to go heavy scanning. I built, I'm scanning 4 different ways, you know what I mean? she's doing no scanning, right? So like I had to work super hard just to like
that.
go and get it for this pink trace, and I'm getting tons of data and that kind of stuff, right? But I don't know. It was much easier to launch a probe, move it 4 spaces, and pay to land it.
So that's what I'm really interested. Like I see the potential in the game, right? Like it's one that I definitely want to play more. I was hoping that we could play it, whenever we were supposed to go to Ardmore to meet up with Joe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that didn't work out, but I want to play it at that 3-player count. Like I said, the solo's fine. I'm sure it's almost exactly like a 2-player game because I did the same thing. I shut out the AI for the alien. And then the objectives. It's things like collect 15 points. Like that's the first one. Like get 15 points and then you collect that objective. Another one could be like scan and get a yellow trace, right? So it's those it's things that you're doing anyway. But if you leave the objectives there, it will score more points at the end of the game. So you're kind of incentivized to do them, but it's not a ton of points, at least for the lower levels. So I don't know. I went up to the 3rd level for the last play, and I still beat it pretty good. And I've kind of heard that from a lot of people that the solo can be fairly easy, at least on that 1st, 2nd, and 3rd level. So I don't know. It's one that I definitely want to play more.
Yeah. So all right, that was
pink ones are the hardest. Yes. Shipyard. I want to hear your thoughts on this one.
I really enjoyed this game. This game was a whole lot of fun. So this was another Vladimir Suchi action selection game. Yeah, this was a blast. Equally, I think, as good as the other Vladimir Suchi games I've played. So at this point, this is the 3rd one, I think, for me, Praga and Evacuation. I've been knocking them out of the park. I want to play it again. That's kind of where I stand. I think you can do all kinds of cool things with this game, whether it's building big ships or small ships or everything in between.
Yeah, I think on this one, did you knock out a bunch of small ships? Was that what you did?
No, I did a bunch of movement. I went heavy on movement because I had something that was, and I did movement and short pass. I needed to have finished
5 routes or
a
something
bunch
like
of
that.
Route cards. So I was taking like the short pass and I was moving heavy. I didn't care nothing about the bonuses or I was just moving.
Yeah.
Yep.
King Julian, moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually talked about this one afterwards. You're like, do you think this would play better at a higher player count? But I think this game did it really well because the action selection, you had 2 tokens and you were blocking one spot every time. So like the spaces weren't just, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here again, I'm going to go here. You actually had to like play around with it and really be deliberate on where you were going because you knew you wouldn't be going there later.
It simulated the 4-player. You every turn had only 3 options of the actions you could do.
Yeah, and then even just like the markets, right? Like the whether it was workers, equipment, whatever it was, like that was even moving pretty well for what we had. So I think that one was good.
Yeah, I really enjoy Shipyard. I don't know. I'm excited to keep playing more Vladimir Suchi games.
Stone Spine Architects. Ian, if you're still here, him and I both thought this was Stone Spire Architects. So going back to that, not knowing what games are. Stone Spine Architects, you are a dungeon architect, basically, and you are building out dungeons by drafting cards. So you get a set of 4 cards, you have this blueprint, and the blueprint tells you, like, in this first row, in this first column, you want a goblin in there. In the 3rd one, you want a trap. In the 2nd columns, you want this, and that, right? So as you're building out your dungeon, you're trying to get these different things where they go. You're also trying to build a path from the entrance down to the exit, or as far as you can, because that's going to score more points at the end of the game. At the end of every round, there is objective cards. And these are things like having 2 points for every goblin, or for every goblin in this row. 3 points for every matching trap that you have, right? So it's just a whole bunch of different stuff that you're gathering points for. And so when this game was first released, a lot of people compared it to like a cartographer's, mainly because of those different objectives that you have every single round, where it's like, okay, now I've completed this, I'm going to take this one, and now I have to kind of start working my way towards this goal. So I got to play this one with that guy that I work with, and he really enjoyed it. Kirsten really enjoyed it. I think it was the first time that I'd played with her. I had played it on Board Game Arena quite a bit prior to that, and then a couple times on the table solo. But getting it out at 3 players on the table, I really enjoyed it. I think this was definitely a good, maybe a little bit higher than family weight game, just because like the different objectives and all that kind of stuff. But I think this is one that you could definitely introduce to like Libby, and they would understand it after a round or so.
I need more.
Yeah,
I got to keep knocking them out with them.
And it's in the role player universe, so you see all those familiar characters.
You know, real quick on that note, you talked about, I think you mentioned it with Project L. Not that that's a universe. It needs to be a universe. I'm not like one that like gets into that kind of thing at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is part of right, because it's like Lockup or
Cartographers.
I think they're great games. I could care less that either of those two games
are related in any way.
Anything to do with it, right? Or you had mentioned that new Danny Garcia game, right? Was like in the same universe of, you know, some other DeVere game. I don't really care. I don't care about no universe that people are building, right? I don't care anything about that. I just want the game to be really good. No, Pat, here's the thing.
Let me back up here.
This is for board games. I don't care about your universe you're building. Like, you just need to have good mechanics and like a fun game. That's what I want, right? I love fantasy. Like, I love fantasy. I read plenty of fantasy novels. Fantasy by far, you know, love watching shows, movies, any of that kind of stuff. Love playing World of Warcraft, you know, the Elder Scrolls. I love all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about like, I don't need this game and that game to share the same world. That part to me doesn't, like, that's not gonna make a game good, right? You know, this game completely sucks, but it's in the same universe as Teotihuacan.
It's the White Castle and White Castle Duel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The White Castle Duel has no dice in it. So how is it in the same name?
Yeah, exactly. The game can't suck. Like, that is my thing, right? Like, this is a great example here, right? Above and Below, Near and Far, Now or Never. Pretty sure that's the exact same universe. I care less. All 3 of those games are very good mechanical games.
Creature Caravan is the same universe
to play, right? Perfect example. I don't really care as much for Islebound and Rome and some of these others that just because they're in the same universe, I'm not going to be like, oh man, I played Islebound and did not have fun, but I'm going to play it again because that's in the same universe as Now or Never.
So it goes into the feeding people into looking into the games. That's what it is, right? Like, if a Flamecraft, right? Like, there is a game that's coming out that is adjacent to Flamecraft. I think it's Creature Kitchen or whatever it is. It's got the same cute meeples but I don't think the game is anything similar to it. Right. But you tie this other name to it that was successful, and it's hooking you in.
That's all it is.
Because I mean, any
any
Arzium game that comes out, I'm gonna look at it. Yeah. Like, I know how good those 3 are. I know how much I like Creature Caravan. Yeah, Islebound wasn't that great. Rome was fine. But it's at least going to intrigue.
It's enough that gets you sinks those claws in.
It has me thinking about it.
So anyway, it's just anyway, games talking about Garfield. I don't know that they consider that a universe. It's just the same designer making his little series.
I don't think that's. I don't know. I don't think it's a universe. Each game is in a universe.
Well, and technically, he's basing that stuff off of the real world, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's our universe.
It's our universe.
So anyway, Survivor. The tribe
in
has
the Survivor universe.
In the Survivor universe, the tribe has spoken, right? So
if y'all don't know this about Devin is a huge Survivor nerd. Huge Survivor nerd. I'm looking for his Survivor headband that he has around here every now and then.
I think that container and there's one over there that are both filled with them.
Okay.
I have tons of buffs.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Devin is for the 40th season that they're on or whatever.
I was for the first 4 seasons. Yeah. And we are, what are we on? 46, I think. So, love Survivor. Lacey loves Survivor. Her family loves Survivor. So, Libby actually got this, and this is I don't know what this is. This is a party game is really what it is. But it's just a card game, and you occasionally vote people off. And it plays, I think technically 3 all the way up to 6, It was a fine, silly game.
2 of the many.
Yeah. It was a fine, silly game. It was not a little take that, and not a lot take that. It was 100% take that. And I realized if you're going to do a game that has take that, that is the way to do it.
Survivor is just do it all?
Yeah, because then it's like, nobody felt bad, right? Literally, here is the actions on your turn. Step 1, mandatory. Steal a card from another player. Okay, that is step 1 of your turn. Step 2, optional, play a card. Step 3, draw a card. Okay?
Yeah.
So the mandatory step of the turn is steal a card from another player. Every card that played a card also stole cards. So it was fun, and nobody felt bad about the take that, because literally that's all you're doing. All you're doing is, and I'm gonna take this from Lacey, and so that worked so well. And I'm gonna give Libby her props here. Libby won this game. Libby won this game because she pre-gamed me, and I didn't even know it. She went to Lacey and went to Laura and said, hey, we all know that Devin is really good at talking and manipulating. We're going to vote him out first, no matter what.
That's awesome.
And you know what? So right away, the take that was, I'm going to take Devin's card, right? And we were all laughing, right? And it was fun. But anyway, I almost came back and manipulated them while Libby was changing my kids' diapers. I was rallying the troops against Libby, and I got so close. But I was first out, and so anyway.
I was going to say, it's fun until you play with Kirsten, and she just takes my cards and nobody else's.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm telling you, I realized just in playing that, I'm like, I'm not like I was getting ganged up on, right? Mm-hmm. And I was not having a bad time because it's like, literally the game is only steal a card from another player, so anyway, it was fun. I'm not gonna say like, ooh, go out and get this. Like, if you like Survivor like I do
this much,
enough that when you buy all 4 buffs every season, then you should get this and play it with some other Survivor people, and you'll laugh. All right. If you don't, this is not like a party game. It's just kind of like you're gonna, oh man, play the best party game there was. So anyway, that's Survivor. The tribe has spoken.
She's a ringleader.
Tabanusi, the builders of I have not learned my lesson about these T games
And their solos.
Playing my first game being solo. And I'll probably do it again to another one, you know. But I've not
Takenu.
Yeah, I've not
you
learned
played that
my lesson yet because they just always have so much to learn, and then they have like
a whole nother rule book for the solo.
Yeah, and it's a book, and the solo bot plays differently than you. It has different symbols, uses the symbols that you've got differently. It is a totally different game, so you have to learn how to play the game, and then learn how to play a different game, and then play those
together.
Play those at the same time, and I keep doing it, and it is always a struggle, and that's how this one was. But I thought this one was like really cool. The main dice mechanic for this one was you started the turn drafting a die that was ultimately going to decide what your next turn, where your next turn and what it was going to be. And then you like did your turn. And that was really clever done, right? It was this every single turn like, oh crap, where do I need to go? I need to go over there. And then you do something and you're like, ooh, that's not actually going to play out like I thought it was going to play out type of thing. Really cool how the scoring works in this. So like based off of the dice pools running out, that's what scores. And you just have 5 scorings. And so if one action area is being heavily, especially in a multiplayer game, being heavily used, that's going to actually score more than other areas. And so you need to make sure whatever you're investing in actually scores. In the game.
You can do a whole bunch of nothing is what you're saying?
Everything will score a minimum of once. Some stuff can score up to 3 times is how it is, right? So, if in a perfect world, everything would score twice, but some stuff could score 3 times, which leaves others scoring only once.
So right now, I think you've played all 5 major T games. You've played Tabanusi, Tawatinsuyu, Takenu, Teotihuacan.
I think that's it. Oh, and then Zolkin, technically.
I was going to say Trismegistus.
It's kind of Zolkin is the
Yeah.
The weird one in that group.
Where's your... this one and Takenu and Tawatinsuyu. Because I know Teotihuacan and Zolkin are...
So it's hard. Takenu is going to be hard because
it's multiplayer.
I played that multiplayer and I played the other 2 solo, right? So comparing the 2 solo... Ooh. Probably this over Tawatinsuyu? Yeah, probably. I think this probably has some really good player interaction.
From what you're saying, it seems like there is a lot of that just based on the scoring and then what actions you're going to be doing in the future and what areas are being controlled.
Yeah, I think because of that, like balancing out what the other player's doing, whereas Tawatinsuyu, it's not a worker placement, but I'm going to use that as that you're placing people out and like you just kind of go wherever. And so like what the other players are doing are blocking your spots, and they may make other spots more powerful, but it's not like a ton of, I don't know. So probably this. Takenu, it's hard because we played that multiplayer and
I don't think Kirsten and
Joe hated the game.
Joe. Yeah.
But Joe is probably not a fan of any of these like major T games. They're all heavy symbol based actions and a plethora of them, and it's littered across maps.
Yeah.
And that is not a Joe thing. This one is actually both that and Tawatinsuyu are just that, but this one it's like the city districts, every spot has symbols and you have to like, so when you go build, it's not as simple as like, oh, I'm going to build it. Which spot am I going to build? There's 16 different symbols here and they all mean something different and do some other things. So, I don't know. I really want to play them all multiplayer.
I want to try this one. I think this is the next one I want to try.
Let's do it. Let's do it. But yeah, that is
Pat's got a question for you.
You can talk about another team.
Teotihuacan, we got to play this one recently. We recorded it, we live streamed it. We had first played this game, I think it was 3 years ago, and that was actually the last time that we had played it. And again, that was at BGG Spring with Joe.
Pat, I'll answer that when he's done talking.
And we absolutely loved this game the first time we played it. Devin absolutely loved it enough to, I think it went into his top 10 immediately after that first play. And as soon as this went on crowdfunding, you backed the super deluxe version. But we've been talking about playing this one together for a long time, and we finally got to it. And it was great. It was just as good as I remember it. Leading up to this game, I went on Board Game Arena just to kind of like refresh myself a little bit. And it wasn't the best on Board Game Arena. I didn't remember what I was doing. But actually getting it to the table and actually like being able to see all the symbols and all that, because there's tons of symbols. It's honestly not a mechanically hard game. There's 3 spaces of collecting resources, and then 2 spaces of spending those resources doing stuff. And then there's just the kind of the locking in your dice for scoring. But it's just a really well done mechanic of using those dice to level up your workers to get better actions. But you also don't want to have your workers be too strong at the end of the eclipse, because then you have to feed them more. So there's that balance of where do you want them to be to make a stronger action, but where do you want them to be at the end of the round? And then just the fact that cacao is the one and only resource, and you need it to do actions, but you also need it to feed your workers at the end of the round. So it's just this really tight balance of what am I going to spend the resources on? How much do I want my workers to be strong? And then just trying to figure it all out at the same time. It's resource management. That's all it is. And it's done really well. Like I said, it's mechanically easy, but it's very strategically tough.
Yeah, and it's literally just go collect some resources.
Yeah, build a temple possibly.
Yeah, go turn them into one of the places that uses those resources. But like Paul said, the balance of leveling up the workers and having them in the right spots. Because some spots don't care what worker level yours is, right? And so you sending that level 5 to a spot that doesn't care, and then him ascending to a 1 feels real bad. So it's making sure that they're in the spots that actually let them reap the benefits of you having worked and gotten them up to that 4 and 5 and the good stuff. So yeah, Paul's right. One playthrough of this, I was like, wow, I love this game. I've now played it twice multiplayer and twice solo. And I really am still just loving this game, and I haven't even had to tap into one of 11 modules.
Honestly, I'm really excited to try out some of those modules.
Yeah, like another track, right? The map mechanic, there's shamans. There's a new wild resource, obsidian. Yeah, I'm very excited to try it as well.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, Pat, getting to your question of Hadrian's Wall versus Legacy of You, I'll try and keep this relatively short. My recommendation is probably going to be Hadrian's Wall. I will say that between the two, I probably like Legacy U more, but I think you get much more replayability out of Hadrian's Wall versus Legacy of You. Now, both are going to have the exact same...
Yes, I was hoping you'd say that.
What happened?
I'll tell you when you're done.
What was
They're going to have the exact same...
both potentially have the exact same problem you can run into, that after a handful of plays, you will know how to win them. But Legacy of You, the gameplay loop and mechanics will never change. Hadrian's Wall, you can still do and kind of explore different stuff. Also, talking about a solo standpoint, so Hadrian's Wall is like a resettable campaign, but it's campaign. It's either the first to 7 wins or 7 losses that ends the campaign. You're probably going to play roughly 10 games. Hadrian's Wall straight up has a 16 campaign solo. So just from most people are going to play Hadrian's Wall once and Legacy of You once and be done. You're going to get 10 games. Hadrian's Wall, if you just play just the campaign once, you're getting 16. But that's what I'm trying to keep it brief. I would get Hadrian's Wall bigger. So now the selling point of Legacy of You, if this sells it for you, is there is a story and a narrative, and you get to unlock stuff. And that first campaign is very cool for the unlocks and that freshness between it. But ultimately, the core gameplay will not ever be altered. And so it's just it's cool filler and fluff in the thing. So if that interests you. Now, I liked Legacy of You more, but my recommendation would be Hadrian's Wall.
That's pretty much exactly what I said. I said Hadrian's Wall is, for somebody like me, I have played that game 30-something times, still haven't completed the campaign, but I like doing all of the stuff in the game. I like trying to do this and that, or sometimes I just go in and I just do the same thing over and over and over. But like you said, Legacy of You, there's really only one way to play the game, or else you're going to lose the game. You and I like that loop. We like playing that loop. We're fine with that. With Hadrian's Wall, there's a lot of ways that you can play the game, so there's a lot more replayability in that. So.
Or buy both.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
White Castle. So I actually got to play the White Castle with the Matcha expansion. So this adds a whole new board. It adds green dice now, which are your tea dice. So the new parts of this game are they act very similar to the warrior grounds, where it scores for like people in your castle. Except this one can score for either people in your training grounds, people in your castle, or people in your garden. So you can choose which one you want the multiplier to be against. So that's on the kind of like middle part of the board. And then there's this other little pawn that you can go to, and it gives you either 3 immediate like resources or coins or something like that, or it can give you like an action that you can choose from. It adds new meeples, which are your geishas that allow you to go to these places. And then just a new place, like a new dice place to put those things in. So it does make you draft, in a 2-player game, it makes you draft 4 dice instead of the 3. So it does give you a total of 12 turns. I guess that's an all-player count. So you get 12 turns throughout the game. I only got 1 playthrough of it, but it still seemed tight. Like it was still tight, because that was our biggest worry, was like, is this just going to open up the game too much? Is it going to make it a lot easier? The thing with those green dice is they don't benefit the other actions.
So they don't add any of the little chits to make stuff want green dice in the main
a little
castle?
bit, yes, yeah, but that's not going to. So like that it's a completely different strategy in the game, right? Like that strategy is not going to, it's not going to overpower another one, if that makes sense. Like in the base game, right, you're going to go for warriors and castle. Like that's basically what you need to get like a lot of points in, and then maybe dabble in the garden a little bit. You can't do all 4 of the things. You're going to have to pick one and just go heavy in that direction. At least in the 1 playthrough that I had for it. Could be different, but from what I'm seeing is you are still going to have to decide where you're going to go, and it's going to depend on what is out in that castle. So like if this tile is going to help that, then you're going to want to go there, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah. So it's still very good. And again, one playthrough of it, I still think that it's tight. And it's still played, I think, like an hour 15. So I don't think it's going to expand the game too long or make it too long. But we'll see. Time will tell with more playthroughs of it, because it's a game that it's hard to grasp anyway because it's so tight. And it had been a while since I played it, so didn't do very well. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's still out in the open. Looking good though.
Okay.
William, you can't find the matcha expansion. No help there.
Watson and Holmes. So learning about lots of things that Devin loves, but Devin loves mysteries. Yeah, I just absolutely love mystery type of stuff. Completely, right? I've always loved escape rooms, and I have a plethora of escape-like games because they're all fun. And I like thrillers, mysteries, that kind of stuff. Actually, so a little sidebar here. Lacey and I don't watch a ton of TV, really. Lacey hates that almost every single time we're like going to sit down and watch TV, right? Her question to me is like most couples, what do you want to watch, right? And my answer is almost always the same. It is something mind engaging. That's what I want to watch, right? And she hates that, right? Because she wants to go veg out.
I want to go watch Jersey Shore.
Yeah, she wants to just completely veg out, and I want to watch I want to watch a thriller, and I want to I want to be engaged, If
you can be stimulated.
If I'm going to because most time this will be most of the time we don't look at our phones. We're this is our time to just no phone, that kind of thing, right? I want to be engaged. I don't want to just freaking sit and laugh at a rom-com. That's not for me. So anyway, I love mysteries and that kind of stuff. This might be the best mystery game I have ever played. Hands down.
Big praise.
It was just a complete blast. And it's a game. It's competitive. You're racing each other to solve this mystery.
This is that weird box.
And it is cool. You start and honestly, Lacey, Laura, Libby, they all liked it. So we're in. We got, I think it's 12 of these bad boys. How many we got? 13 cases, and we did 2 of them. But here, this is perfect. So you lay out cards in this pattern. So the first one was just a 3x4 pattern. The second one got a little bit more fancy, a 3x5 pattern. And you lay out the cards, and they have part of the mystery. So you actually start by reading this little paragraph here, or there's a little app thing to narrate it all. And so this first one here was a mystery on a train. And the backstory was that basically one of the guys on the train was guarding a room that was there to protect valuable letters, banknotes, that kind of stuff. One way in, one way out, and somebody broke in, on this guy's watch or whatnot. And so you had to, and it gives you have to find who is the thief, how did the thief access the mail wagon, how did the thief remove the loot from the train. So you have all of these, and every turn you go to one of these, and so everybody goes to a different one of the 12 locations, and then you just read a little card. And so the cards, I'm not going to read the cards, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Here's level 2. I'll say spoil for you.
No, but the cards just have a little bit of text, right? And some of them have a little bit more text than others. But basically every card is a piece of this mystery, and you actually have to be the detective and detect it again. That's what we realized on the first game, right? As we were piecing it together, all of us were expecting to just pick up the card that reads, but the way the game is laid out, I could go to any of these first, right? And so you actually have to be a detective, and what you read in the mailroom and what the conductor said, and you have to piece together the clues. Nothing is going to ever spell out that, you know, Joe Blow is the thief and he got in through the side hatch and he snuck it out by putting it up his bum hole. Nothing, no card is actually going to spell that out. But there's going to be probably 3 cards that give you the clues to, you know, how he got it out and that kind of stuff. It was cool. It was so cool. We all completely loved it, and it had just enough like little game mechanics, right? So technically you could bid or outbid each other on where you wanted to go, right? So like when you read this story, it was very obvious, you know, well, maybe we should go check out the mailroom, right? So everybody wants to go check out the mailroom first, but only one person can read that card first. Or maybe we need to ask the conductor, you know? And then what you read there is going to lead you somewhere else. It was fantastic.
This is a competitive game?
Yeah. And that is the neat thing, is that like everybody is attempting to solve these things at the same time, and it was done well. So the first one, Libby was like, surefire, got this, you know, and ended up getting it wrong. And so like, there's actually a thing, once you get it wrong, it adds a new game mechanic into it where like now, one, she's still technically in the game, but like she gets to be somewhat of the GM to like players can spin their tokens to get a clue from her or that kind of thing.
It's interesting.
And I don't know, it was done fantastically well. Then by the second game we played, like me and Laura were both solving the clue at the exact same time, and she had one of the 3 pieces wrong, and then so I ended up having my chance to solve it or whatnot. But it was cool.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited that there's 13 cases,
scenarios here,
scenarios in there, right? And then and honestly, the nice thing is, unlike, you know, X or something like that, like nothing's getting tore up, so then you just pass it on to
me.
Yeah, to you. I think you can never play this though with probably less than 4. I think it plays up to 6, and I actually think it would be
7,
almost better at more. But I think it would be much worse at, I don't know what it
2.
says it goes down to, but I think 2 or even 3. You need somewhat of the blocking of stuff.
That makes sense.
Otherwise, like at 2, like
I'm gonna go.
It would literally probably just be you happen to get the better cards first, right? Like, because there's ways like, if I think a card is really good, I got these police tokens, and I can basically call the police to watch the area, and now other people have to. It costs them more to even see that card. It was a great game. Had so much fun. We all did, and the best part was nobody was mad that they didn't solve it, because everybody was like talking it out afterwards. So like after both games, and I bet the first one lasted 60 minutes because we were learning. Second one couldn't have lasted 35, 40 minutes. Relatively quick. I bet we talked for 20 or 30 minutes after the game, recapping of like, oh, did you read that card where it talked about his uncle and how he saw his wife doing it? And like, oh no, I didn't read that, but I read the thing about his uncle checking out the closet and the maid saw him over there or something like that. And so like, it's just, man, it was cool. But honestly, I'm telling you, I'm talking a lot about it. The best part was you have to deduce it. Nothing is ever going to tell you the answers. You literally have to be the detective and deduce what happened. And I think that part is what is so cool.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
That's what Joe's always talking about, right? Is those memories that the game is leaving you, and that's the talking about it at the end for 30 minutes, because you're going to remember that from here on out. You're going to remember exactly what the uncle did to this and that, and how Laura missed this one piece of information that was you know, in that
Yeah,
picture.
so she thought the uncle was doing this, you know, having an affair with the something, and it's like, oh no, that's not it. The uncle was actually doing this thing, and that's what the motive was or whatnot. And so, very, very cool game.
Awesome.
So yeah,
interesting.
That is so far like
game of the hall,
a shining gem in the hall that did not know was it. Oh, also real quick, only reason this got played. Only reason. So we had our first game night, right? So we're about to have the second one, and I asked them. I said, "Hey, ask them, is there any games or stuff that they would want to play or whatnot?" Lacey's mom, Laura, said, "Does he have anything like Clue?" I'm like, "I got you, boo.
I got something. I got something for you."
I'm like, "I guarantee I got something here, you know." And so yeah, that was like, what do I have? And then I was like, what do I have? You know, I was honestly thinking like, oh, I'll bring exit unlock or that kind of thing, you know. Then this was like, knocked it out of the park. So yeah, I was Watson and Holmes.
And that is it.
That was everything. So
a lot of games.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of games not together.
Yeah, I know. I got other people.
Got other people. I've got one other person. My work friend just is about to have a kid, so he's gonna be out for a while.
Pat, I will get you that answer. I told Paul. I told Paul I saw the message this afternoon and almost overwhelmed me. I'm like, oh, I gotta think on that. So let me think on that. I will get you an answer because I most certainly there's one that I'm like, oh, this could use an insert, but I haven't. And I've also told Paul, right? You guys have seen me play games and, you know, organize. I'm not the most organized person in general, so it's not like when I open a game, I gravitate toward, oh, this needs an insert. So I definitely, I'm a type B, right?
Yeah.
So I have to really think on that question. It's not as simple for me.
We were just talking before that, and he was like, oh, check out what my brother got me for Christmas. You'll love this. Yeah. And it's little organizers. And Devin was like, I will never use these.
Yeah, I was like, I'll never. It's like component organizers for the table. I'm like, I literally dump all my resources right here.
I was like, well, next time we stream, give these to me because I would appreciate them.
Yeah. So.
Actually, during Shipyard, I gave you little containers of your stuff. And at the end of it, the containers were empty. Or it could have been Praga. It was one of those.
No, yeah. He gave me these like containers that were like these narrow things that perfect. Like you got to use your pinkies as tweezers to like get pieces out. And I'm like, I don't got time for that. Just throw the resources over there because you know what's going to happen? Next turn, I got to collect resources. I'm just going to be grabbing them back.
You got to put them in a place.
Yeah. So Pat's
we've all seen
me play.
You guys have seen. So, I've experienced.
Yeah, it's type B. That's it. Yeah. That explains a lot of it.
I'm very type B with a lot of stuff, but not that.
So. Yeah, like that was also space constraint, right? I had like, you don't understand. I had the camera so high, and it still like only had so much space on the table. I'm like, shove this stuff over here. We'll cram it all together. But yeah, you're right. By the end of that, all of my polynomial tiles were just in piles. So yeah, absolutely.
That was great.
That's what we got.
We appreciate you guys being here. Next week, we will actually not be together. I will be streaming alone, I believe.
Is this
Valentine's Day? Oh
no, yeah. You know what? I talked to Lacey. Next week, since we're not together, we're gonna have a nice romantic Valentine's Day by doing Pandemic Legacy Season 2 February.
That's right. There you go. That's what it is. Okay.
So, that's what we're going to do. I am playing Architects on Wednesday. And then Paul is doing a little special on Monday. So jump in for that for sure. And then we are going to be doing Inventors of the South Tigris as our video. So.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Yep. Inventors. Yep.
You know, at this point, I get those names like
just
like
thoroughly messed up.
Yeah, all of them at this point. You know,
have a good one, Pat.
Yeah,
and then So on Monday I will be streaming with Kervin. He's from TikTok. He's coming over to YouTube. we're going to be streaming some Obsession on BGA, so he'll be on the channel on Monday. I'll post the schedule and all that. And if you guys haven't yet, go ahead and join our Discord. Drop the link there in the chat. We will, I think we've only got one other time where we're going to be streaming together this month. So we will do a poll. Actually, I say that we never got to do the last poll, so we will probably be playing Great Western Trail Argentina.
Let's go. That's a great one. I'm excited.
Yes,
for that.
Ian, that is why. It's been forever since I played it. So playing Deadly Dowagers for Valentine's Day. I've heard of that game
about Victorian women killing their husband and going up the social ladder.
I've heard that's actually a great game. Looks very interesting, but I've heard really good things about it. So, but yeah, that's all that we got.
That's all we got. So, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. All those things help us, help our channel grow. See y'all on the next one.